Beyond the mind, I am, not the mind. Hearing this may create resistance as one would feel shivers spiking up the spine. The identity would be challenged and the ego may feel triggered because feelings, thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations are all within the confines of the mind. This indicates that we are none of anything that defines our personalities. In other words, anything that we could think of, we are not. Hello, everyone. This is Naz, the proud co author of My Simple Being.
I cannot see her. T panicked, realizing that the shimmering being was absent. Please come back. I need you. Tree said, observe well, T. Sweet T, it's not just around. You only look around. Look up. It is the sky you never look at. You will learn to seek that too. T realized she never had to look up in her cage. There were limits, but here there are none. T looked up and the gleaming being impishly winked back at T from a higher branch. Get up here, darling. We are going somewhere fun. Don't you feel it? That warm voice spoke to her. Deep breath. I can do this, T said, pushing off the branch to land near the brilliant bird. What do I call you? What is your name? T asked, her voice filled with awe for that radiant being. What do you want to call me? The glow spoke. You are such a mystery, T mused. Then call me M replied. T smiled and whispered, Hi, M. Welcome to our chapter 5. Uh, Paro, proud co author of My Simple Being. And today we are going to dive into our chapter, which is Beyond the Mind. I Am. So Nasti is stepping into a space where she is still confused, but she has stepped in and she has finally glimpsed M. And this chapter is taking us from her initial takeoff to now the next steps that come in stabilization, encountering with the mind. So, as you read in that first paragraph, if we are not the mind, who are we?
Interesting. But I think we need to first investigate what is the mind.
True.
So, mind, I think all of us have too much identification with the mind because that's who we think we are. But what really is the mind is cluster of thoughts, beliefs, your identity, your likes, dislikes, your apprehensions, your worries, your concerns, your emotions, all the baggage that you carry and can't really let go. That is the mind. But um, I mean, you look at the tendency of the mind because we are so um, attached to our stories, we always end up creating worst case scenarios for the future. So
Yeah.
I think it is best to recognize the self beyond the mind because as we are conveying in our book through and through that you're more than who you think you really are. And if you're confined to the mind, that you would never be able to move towards your highest potential. So who we really are is a very important question. And as we have said so many times in the book, that it's about returning home to really identify and connect and recognize with who you really are. And home is where the heart is.
Very true. And as we are depicting that this is not a casual reference to the story of T trying to find herself and trying to grow strong, blah blah blah. It is that there is a depth to this journey. And as you were explaining so beautifully, is that the mind is a huge aspect, and it's one of the important aspects to I realize and gradually, overcome and make that journey from the head to the heart. But you can't do that without the guidance of the divine and the grace. And that's why where Tree is saying, to T, that when she was looking for M, she's like looking here, looking there. He's like, you never look up. And I think that was a subtle reference to the grace. So go ahead and expand some more on this, in the space where grace is entering into this journey.
So grace is always there, Paro. I mean, it's ever present. It's just that as long as you stay stuck to your mental tendencies, and even in the book, when M asks T to fly, T has all the excuses based on her assumptions,
Right.
and the assumptions are
Yeah.
rooted in the belief that I will fail. What is that?
Correct.
That is the mind, right?
Mhm.
But when M pushes T, and
Right.
it just brings her into the present moment, right? She's
Correct.
forced to come to the present moment.
Correct.
That's when the grace is something that kind of comforts her and allows her to fly higher, because M says, "Look up."
Yeah.
M, sorry, if T would have allowed herself to get attacked by the mind, which in the
Right.
beginning she did, because the memory of how she felt previously um, got her stuck into feeling so victimized that in that moment there was a pain in the right wing.
Correct.
So memory brings pain. But when you allow yourself to be guided by grace and you
Right.
look up rather than look down, look up, you will be lifted by grace. And grace is everywhere, Paro, and it is always here at all times.
Yes. And I know we've emphatically tried to explain it, in the book directly, subtly, that M, who is a representation of so many things, is always there. And you were right. You made an actually a very funny comment when we were saying, when we were, going through the writing process, is that, Paro, she has to keep her eye on M, क्योंकि नजर हटी तो दुर्घटना घटी.
Bilkul.
Which is what happened. She felt the pain, even though there was no reason to feel the pain. It was like she shifted her focus from present moment awareness to pulling from the mind's past.
True, true. So what we are trying to convey through the book is, you know, staying in the heart is so very important. And interestingly, in this chapter, for the first time, M asks T to open her heart. That was a
Yes.
flight instruction, and T, you wrote it so beautifully, and that indeed is the flight instruction for life. Open your heart, because only
Right.
then you would be able to allow grace to guide you. Open your heart, use your gift. The next thing M asks T is to sing.
Yes.
In the middle of a trauma, anybody experiencing that, I mean,
Yeah.
somebody gives that kind of a flight instruction, open your heart and sing. It might seem ridicule, but that is the only sane thing to do. Else, the memory of the past would really drain you and would ensure that you succumb to failure, which is what you're fearing anyways. You will
Correct.
create it, because thoughts create things.
Correct. Thoughts create things. I think there are some takeaways that we want our readers and our listeners to have from this chapter is thoughts create things. So now, in conclusion, and in addition to thoughts creating things, what's the culmination of this chapter?
I feel what we're trying to convey to our readers is, be responsible for your energy. You know, your thoughts are creating your reality, and you can't be just thinking anything you want, going back into the past, revisiting it, revising it, rehearsing it all the time, and ensuring that you're a victim. It's kind of
Right.
proving to yourself again and again. It's like you're battling with your own self till the time you don't prove, yes, I went through so much pain. I have to have some self pity. I am miserable. I mean, we are arguing for that. I don't understand this. Your thoughts are creating the same reality, and you're creating a predictable future out of your familiar past, because you're
Great.
thinking the same thing. But then that's what your destiny is going to become. It's important to wake up, Paro, to wake up, to recognize that this is not the way. It is a practiced way, but this is not how you're meant to live your life. You're supposed to cut the crap, get into your heart, open your heart, and ask for help. Ask because
Correct.
the divine will honor your free will. Unless you ask, it's not given. So open your heart, really trust the guidance inside because this is going to lead you there. And that's
Yes.
your free will.
To all the T's out there, your M is waiting for you to open your heart,
Yeah,
ask, and you shall receive. And that is our biggest takeaway in this chapter. You are not your mind. So I can't wait for the next few chapters and how we are now going on to this next stage after the first few chapters where it was take off, take off, take off, safe landing. Now it's like you've landed, but you need to learn to fly. And the very first thing is you are not your mind. Open your heart.
you're not your mind. You're more than that. And if you want to know who you are, just look within and look up. That's the hook.
Yeah,
Stay anchored in the present moment and you'll figure out what you have to do because it's never as bad as it seems. Grace is here.
absolutely true. Absolutely true. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to us. Give us your comments. We love listening to and reading your comments and your thoughts and your own journeys. And thank you to everybody that's, you know, being a part of My Simple Being and its journey.
Thank you so much and have a
Thanks.
beautiful day ahead. Bye bye.
Bye.